This. This is a remarkable place. A place steeped in history, where trails have been blazed, discoveries have been made, and lives have been changed forever. This is a place that holds questions and answers, problems and solutions. It's a place to tap into your creativity, curiosity, and ambition. This is a place to pursue what makes you, you. Here you'll be challenged and cheered, and you'll join a tradition of changemakers. This is a place you'll miss when you leave. Look around and picture yourself here, at this unique time, in this remarkable place. You'll be amazed at what you find. Welcome to UNC Greensboro. Find your way here.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you're all doing super well this evening. Thank you so much for joining us for our live stream to talk about our Stamps 3.0 scholarship program. My name is Stone Yates. I'm an admissions counselor at UNCG. I primarily recruit first year, fresh out of high school students, but I've worked with many different populations. And I'm joined here tonight with our co-directors of our Stamps Scholarship and a couple students that are part of the Stamps Scholarship program. And I'm actually going to go ahead and ask them to introduce themselves, and we can start, Jeff, with you.
Hi, I'm Jeff Patten. I'm a professor in the Department of Geography, Environment, and Sustainability. And as Stone points out, I'm also part of the Stamps program. I've been here a long time, and I've been part of the Stamps program a long time. And I can honestly tell you it's one of my favorite things I do is working with the students in that program. So I'll let Lynn, our co-director, introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Dr. Samitz. I am the co-director of the Stamps program. I have been involved in this program nearly as long as Dr. Patten. And again, this is just a wonderful thing to do on campus, and we encourage you all to apply. And I'm going to introduce one of our two students, and she will turn it over to the next student. Caroline?
Hi, my name is Caroline Nelson. I've been a part of the Stamps program for almost 3 years now. I can't even begin to describe how many opportunities it has led me to and the doors that it's opened. So it is just an incredible program, and I would encourage anyone to join. But I will turn it over to Kevin.
Hi, my name is Kevin Zong. I've been in the Stamps program for about 3.5 years now. So it's a really great experience. It's a really great way to get to know your faculty. So I think it's a really great opportunity for new students to get involved.
Very cool. I appreciate y'all introducing yourselves. And just to give all of our viewers an idea of what to expect from this session, Dr. Patten is going to be presenting on the Stamps program. He's going to be telling you a little bit more about what the program entails, what opportunities will be made available to you if you are selected to be a Stamps scholar, and what you need to do in order to be eligible and to apply for the program. I do want to point out really quick, at any point, if you have any questions, you should see a number pop up here on our live stream. You are welcome to text that number throughout the presentation tonight. We will have people awaiting to receive those messages, and then we will ask them live during our Q&A, which is going to take place after the presentation. But Dr. Patton, I'm going to turn it over to you, and if you want to go ahead and pull that presentation up.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, I hope everyone can see this. It's known as the STAMPS program, which stands for Science, Technology, and Math Preparation Scholarships. And it's a joint program of the National Science Foundation and UNC Greensboro. It has been in existence now for about 12 years. And what it does, and this is the current leadership team of professors across the campus from the various sciences involved. And the whole idea of the program is to attract gifted young students who are interested in one of the STEM programs, one of the sciences here on campus, and that includes biology, chemistry, computer science, physics, mathematics, and geography. And then what we do, as you can see here, is we not only just support you with funds, which I realize is important. We offer scholarships of about, I think it's now around $4,600 per year, up to that, depending on your financial situation. But we offer more support than simply the money. There is actually sometimes money available beyond the scholarship, and that is to do undergraduate research. And many of the students involved in the STAMPS program have been involved in undergraduate research, including both Caroline and Kevin. We also support the new students coming in, and we have two groups of students now that we support, and that is those who enter traditionally. They come in as freshmen, and also now, if you are a community college transfer student, we have specific funds available for those students, and we give all of our incoming students then peer mentors, so they'll work with someone who's actually in the STAMPS program, but maybe a junior or a senior in the program. Here are some of the past peer mentors. And we also pair off the STAMPS students with a faculty mentor, hopefully in your own field of interest. But what you find is that they're more than just the advisor who tells you what courses to take, but they may help you navigate those issues, enrollment issues, but also then later how to get undergraduate research opportunities or how to apply for graduate school. It's very important, I think, to get to know faculty beyond the classroom. Okay, so we also have a first-year common class experience. All incoming freshmen now take a common class known as a first-year experience class. And we have one that is specifically set aside for the STAMPS students. And here we hope to build sort of a cohort, so you get to know one another. You get to know some of the faculty, of course, but also what are the opportunities here on this campus that you may never have thought about. So many students come in and say, I want to be a biology major, or I want to be a physics major, but they don't really know what are the opportunities even within those fields. And sometimes we find student comes in and says, I want to be a biology major, but they end up, becoming very interested maybe in the chemistry side. And this course sort of, I think, helps that, in that we look at a lot of the sciences and then talk about what it means to be a scientist as well. As I said, many of the STAMP students, I'd say almost all of them, eventually have an undergraduate research experience, either on our campus or on other campuses across the country. And we help support those, both sometimes with funding for those, but also making contacts for students for those research opportunities. We bring in speakers to campus who will talk about not just their science, which I think is interesting enough, but they will also spend time with the STAMP students talking about how did they get to where they are? What was their path from becoming an undergraduate to becoming, in one case, a Nobel laureate. But those talks, I think, are particularly interesting to students beyond simply the scientist research. It's their career, that path that seems to be, that sort of resonates with our students. And we had lots of experiences for the STAMP students. We usually participate in Science Everywhere, which is a campus-wide event every spring that brings literally thousands of people to campus. Of course, with COVID lately, that has been postponed, but hopefully that will come back. But other activities, we created wetlands on campus that are now research facilities for biology and other departments on campus. We take a lot of day trips. We've gone to the Duke Leamer Center, the Joint School of Nanoscience and Nanotechnology. We've gone there, and we've had a program where the STAMP students have shadowed research assistants at the Nano Center. We've gone to the 3 College Observatory, which UNCG is a part of. I'd say the major player with that facility, and taken trips to field research sites in the area. We've also done some very extended trips for 2 or 3 days. We went to a wild cave in Eastern Tennessee, which was great fun. We spent a few hours underground, and then we went to one of the foremost fossil sites in the Eastern United States. We've taken a field trip to the NASA Goddard Space Center and the National Institute of Standards and Technology in Washington, D.C. Now, all of these trips, by the way, STAMPS pays for. There's no cost to the students. And I think our most recent trip was to the Institute of Marine and Environmental Technology in Baltimore. And then we also stopped on Washington, D.C. on the way back. We found it interesting when there was some free time for students in Washington, D.C. And we thought, oh, they'd all go to the science exhibits in the Smithsonian. Almost all of them went to the art museum. I think maybe they had had enough science on the trip. But we encourage that, the sort of broadening of interests. In fact, one of our favorite sort of classes in our course is to go to the art museum on campus, where our students are learned how to think and look at things. That sounds simple, but we don't always look carefully. And that's always been a favorite of students too. The purpose of STAMPS basically is to make sure that students who come in one of the STEM disciplines graduate in one of the STEM disciplines. And the program has been very successful. You probably may not be aware that across the country, less than half of all the students who say that they want to major in one of the sciences actually graduate from a university in 4 years in one of the sciences. I think it's somewhere closer to 35%. But in the STAMPS program, we're somewhere around 85%. And then if they don't graduate in one of the sciences, they are graduating in a non-STEM discipline, or almost all of them. So I'd say it's been a truly successful program. And I think what the reason behind it more than anything else is that you get to know a group of people who are interested in the same kind of things you are. And that cohort is important. And also get to know some of the faculty in your discipline, and they'll help you. So, I hope you're interested in the STAMPS program. We'd love to have, a lot of people apply, and there is funding available for quite a few students. So with that, I think I'll turn it back to Stone and see if anyone has any questions.
All right, very cool. Well, we definitely appreciate you at least telling us a little bit more about the program. We do have a couple questions coming in. Let's see, and I'll just go through the questions that we've received live in the order that I received them. So we'll start with the earliest question. And this is actually a pretty good question. They want to know what the requirements are in order to be eligible for consideration for the STAMPS program.
I think I'll let Lynn answer that one. I'll get it wrong.
So you need a 3.0, either from your community college or your high school, and you need to be financially eligible for a scholarship. And actually, I think I'll default to Stone on that.
All right, very cool. Well, for those of you who are joining us tonight, while I do work in undergraduate admissions, I do assist the STAMPS scholarship program and helping them coordinate the application and streamline it to make it as easy for you all to actually apply and be considered for the scholarship. So as Dr. Patten said earlier, there are a few requirements, and I believe Dr. Sametz touched on some of them. One of those requirements is a 3.0 or higher GPA, and that can be a 3.0 GPA from your high school if you're applying as a first-year student, or if you're applying as a community college transfer, then you will use your community college GPA. You must also be intending to major and remain within one of the following academic programs. So that includes biology, chemistry, and biochemistry. That includes majors within our computer science department, within our physics and astronomy department, as well as programs within our math and statistics department and our geography department. And that includes a couple different majors. But as Dr. Sametz pointed out, there's also a financial component as well. So in order to be considered eligible, it's really three factors. You have to have that GPA. You have to be intending to major and stay in one of those eligible majors. But you also have to demonstrate financial need. And in order to do that, you'll need to complete your FAFSA, or your free application for federal student aid. For those of you who have already completed it, congratulations, you've already taken a big first step. Once you complete your FAFSA, when you complete your FAFSA, you'll be providing financial information for your household, after which you'll be given an estimated number, which is your EFC, or your estimated financial or family contribution. And so essentially what that EFC means is it's an estimate of how much you should be able to pay for college. And essentially what you can do is you can subtract that number from the total cost of attendance to get an idea of how much unmet financial need that you have. Now, depending on what your EFC is, you may be eligible to receive a federal Pell grant. In order to be considered for this scholarship, I believe you must be full Pell eligible. So you can't just supply or complete the application. You must also be sure that you're completing your FAFSA as well, and that you meet that financial requirement. But that is a great question. And they're actually rolling in now.
So let me just add one thing to that.
Of course.
If you're applying for the next academic year, incoming first-time students will be eligible for 3 years of funding, assuming they continue to meet the requirements of STAMPS, which is a 3.0. Transfer students will be eligible for a guaranteed year of funding and probably 2.
Very cool. Thank you for the clarification. And we actually do have a couple others rolling in now. This question wants to know, how do you apply for the STAMP scholarship? That is an excellent question and something that I love talking about. So I'm actually going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to pull up the actual application so you can have an idea of what it looks like. So you have a little bit better expectation of what you're going to be filling out and completing. And so if you all go to our scholarship webpage, it'll look something like this. And you can see all of the various scholarships that we offer for students, either through our admissions office or through different departments or programs. If you scroll down, you'll find information on the Stamps 3.0 scholarship with your eligibility requirements, what is included in the scholarship here. And you'll see again, for incoming first-year students, financial support for up to 3 years, so long as you continue to meet the eligibility requirements of the program. But you'll also see a hyperlink here for the application form, and you can click on that, and it will take you to this beautiful application that I created myself. And you can scroll down, you'll get a little bit more information here. And when you click next, it'll have you supply some contact information so that we can stay in touch with you. You'll select whether or not you're applying to UNCG as a first-year student or a transfer. You can select your intended major here, intended program, and then you can confirm that by being offered a scholarship and being offered to be a part of the Stamps 3.0 cohort, you'll need to, of course, go ahead and agree that you are going to be participating in the required courses and program activities. And lastly, just a short little 500 words or less statement about where you want to be in 5 years, why, and how your role models have influenced your decision. So all in all, the scholarship, I've tried to design it to be as straightforward as possible, and it should be relatively easy to complete. And again, you don't have to submit a whole book for a response. You're more than welcome to do 500 words or less, and actually we encourage it. So once you do all of that, you can press submit, and your information will be sent directly to me. And then what I do after that is I pull a report with all of your applications, and then I mail merge them and clean them up, put them in a nice little PDF, and they look nice, clean, and cute. And I send it over to our co-directors of the Stamp Scholarship, and then they get together with the rest of their team, and then they start reviewing your applications and start looking for some pretty strong and compelling individuals who would benefit the Stamps program in a positive and meaningful way, and who can also benefit greatly from the different opportunities and funding that comes with the scholarship program. But that is a phenomenal question, and I'm glad someone asked it because it gave me the opportunity to explain it in a little bit greater detail.
So the other place to find the Stamps application is on the Stamps webpage, which I encourage all, and if you just Google Stamps UNCG, it will come right up. And I encourage you all to take a look at it.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll share my screen again, just in case you all are looking for an easier way to find that website. As you scroll back down to the Stamp Scholarship, there's a hyperlink for the application, but there's also a link to take you to the website where you can see some student testimonials, look at different research and internship opportunities, view the fall 2021 peer mentors, and look at some FAQs as well. And that's also a great place for you to find my contact information, which you can see here. And I would be happy to answer any additional questions that you might have about the process of applying to be a Stamps scholar. So this next question actually is in response to when we were talking about the FAFSA. So I can actually go ahead and field this question. This student wants to know how many students are accepted into the Stamps program on average each year, and additionally where they can find their EFC. So I'll start with that last question, knock that out, and then I'll turn things back over to Dr. Sametz, and she can talk to you a little bit more about how many students are awarded scholarships each year and what the average cohort looks like in terms of size and makeup. Now, for the EFC, or again, the expected family contribution, once you complete your FAFSA, you should receive a report with a breakdown of all of your information. And I believe the processing time is a couple of weeks, if not sooner. So you'll want to log back into your FSA account using your FSA ID, which is what you'll create when you make your FAFSA. But that ID will let you log back in and look at all the information you've already supplied, make any updates or corrections to your FAFSA, but it will also show you the results of your FAFSA. And you should see expected family contribution. It should also show up as EFC, but if it doesn't say EFC, look for the expected family contribution, and it should be somewhere between a 4 and 5 digit number, depending on what the federal government believes you should be able to contribute based on your household financial information. But
so we'll admit 10 first-time in college students and 10 transfer students for the next cohort. Upon occasion, we actually admit a few students mid-year, so we're actually going to admit 3 students for January term. Actually, Caroline was a January entry. So that happens. But most of our students, like Kevin, enter at the beginning of the year.
Very cool. Well, so far we've gotten through all of our just kind of general housekeeping questions as far as like, what is the scholarship and how do I apply? So I'm actually going to transition and move over to some other questions that are related more to the student experience. And I'm actually going to ask Caroline and Kevin to try to field some of these questions. The first one that we have here, or the first one that I've received that's student related, this individual wants to know what the student experience is like, or at least what your experience has been like so far as members of the STAMP scholarship program. And yeah, Kevin, if you want to go ahead and jump in first, and then we'll pass it over to Caroline.
So for my experience with stamps, I joined in at the beginning of fall 2018, and we were able to go to the DC trip that year. And it was a really great opportunity to get to know my other peers. And I feel like with the stamps program, it really helped me communicate with the faculty. I got to get to know a lot of the faculty, even the ones not involved with stamps. It was a lot easier for me to get into undergrad lab, mainly because I knew who the faculty were. So I feel like with my stamps, through stamps, I was able to get opportunities that I thought I would never be able to get. And I'll give it over to Caroline.
Very cool.
Yeah, so going off of that a little bit, like Dr. Samet said, I was kind of an unusual entry in spring of 2019 I joined. However, even having half a year less than most students, I feel like I really bonded to my cohort. I have people that I still talk to this day, and I'm a senior now. And the friends that I made were just some of the most incredible people that I've met at UNCG, very like-minded people, just good friends, good people overall. Another thing that the stamps program has done for me was, like Kevin was mentioning, offering opportunities to me. After my freshman year here, I attended a research experience for undergraduates, which I'm sure if you're interested in research, you'll hear about at some point, which the stamps program wrote letters of recommendation for me. They exposed me to the program itself. So without that, I wouldn't have known that they existed. So they've really done some really incredible things. Throughout our time in stamps, we also receive lectures from invited faculty, which Dr. Patten was mentioning earlier. And another thing that the stamps program has done is just maintain support throughout my years in the program, even after my first year where we have a class. They've really been active and willing to keep us in that cohort feeling, even though we're not in a class anymore. Because of my own experiences that I've had through research, I've been invited back to speak to incoming classes of freshman students through stamps, and that's been an incredible opportunity for me to learn how to speak as well. So there's just so many opportunities here.
And both Caroline and Kevin are peer mentors.
All right, very cool. I appreciate the responses. Here's an easy question for you all. The student just wants to know what your majors are. Like, what do you do at UNCG?
For me, I'm a bio major. I'm also a senior as well. But yeah, I'm just a bio major.
I'm also a bio major, planning to get a chemistry minor. I entered as a pre-med. I'm still a pre-med. I'm currently applying to MD PhD programs where I will hopefully receive both my medical degree as well as a degree in research.
All right, very cool. I appreciate it. One of our previous students wants to know, what do you two want to do after graduation?
For me, I am planning, or after graduation, I am planning to apply to A&T, where I will be in the Master's Food Science program.
Yeah, I kind of touched on this a little bit, but thank you for your question. And like I said, I'm currently in the process of applying to MD PhD programs. I have been interviewing with them so far. And again, the STAMPS program has been so helpful in this. I really do believe that without the opportunities that I was afforded in the program, I wouldn't be where I am today. So it's been great. And I guess my overall career goals, broadly speaking, would be to become a ophthalmologist to study eye diseases.
Very cool. We need people like you. I have terrible eyesight, so, definitely helps.
Yeah, there's so much we don't know, and the STAMPS team is so enthusiastic about getting us into research. So.
And actually, it's interesting because you just mentioned research a little bit, and we do have a question. And I'll preface this by letting all of our viewers know that UNCG, we are a little bit unique in that, unlike some other research institutions that restrict research opportunities to graduate students and above, at UNCG, we not only offer undergraduate research, we actually encourage our students to get involved in undergraduate research as early as possible if that's something that they're interested in or passionate about. And one of the reasons why we do that is because it gives you more experience, but it also gives you a little bit of a competitive edge when you're looking for postgraduate opportunities, especially when competing against other peers and students and with similar majors and backgrounds. So any little edge that you can get is always going to help. And it's been my experience in just working with the STAMPS program that's one of the most valuable pieces that you're going to get, is that extra competitive edge, extra networking opportunities, and extra research opportunities that are going to be made available to you. But this question is more so like, what types of research opportunities are available to students? And more specifically, are they restricted to certain majors? And I know we talked a little bit about, what majors belong to the STAMPS program and what you have to be interested in order to be eligible for consideration. But, across all of the different STAMPS affiliated academic programs here at UNCG, I guess, what are some examples of research that students have done? If there's any kind of noteworthy research in the past?
So why don't we let both Kevin and Caroline talk about their research first, and then we'll add.
So the lab I'm currently in, it's Dr. Kohner's lab. She mainly studies biodiversity. So once we're in an undergrad lab, we are assigned to a peer mentor, or mainly a grad mentor. So a student that's getting their PhD or in their master's program at UNCG. So we are assigned to a grad mentor, and based off their research, we are mainly assistants to their research. So with my particular lab, I'm not writing their lab reports. I'm mainly assisting them in their research. It's also a good opportunity for us to know what work gets put into a PhD research assignment. So it's a really good opportunity if you're looking to get into undergrad research.
Yeah, I had a pretty similar experience. Like Stone was mentioning, something that's really unique about UNCG is how highly encouraged research is. So I had the opportunity of joining a lab at the same time that I joined the STAMPS program. as a second semester freshman. And I've been in that lab ever since, studying the cellular and molecular mechanisms of a flavin called naringenin, which is found in grapefruits, in the treatment of breast cancer and type 2 diabetes. So that has been a fantastic experience, and really allowed me to develop some of the more fundamental concepts of research that you need to be successful in your career, even if that's not research. Like I mentioned before, after my freshman year here, I went to the University of Rochester, attending something called a research experience for undergraduates, which Dr. Sametz, I believe, helped me get into. And that was a fantastic experience. I was actually looking at how we can develop a way to image a layer in the back of your retina, non-invasively in humans as an early diagnostic tool. At that time, for any of you interested in medicine, I also had the opportunity to shadow physicians at that hospital, and it was an incredible experience. Over just this past summer, I was over at Wake Forest University, again, looking at inflammation in the retina. So I've had a lot of research experience through UNCG.
All right, very cool. And then,
So
go ahead.
we'll support you in trying to make a connection to any faculty member at the university who's in our STEM disciplines, which, as Stone mentioned, are limited to physics, mathematics, and statistics, geography, biology, biochemistry, chemistry, and I just left one out.
Physics.
And computer science.
Computer science.
Physics and computer science.
And we have had students do undergraduate research in all of those disciplines. We are fortunate to have on our faculty team for STAMPS, the director of undergraduate research. So all of us will help you find a way to do research in the area that interests you.
And our students have have connected with faculty here on our campus. That's probably the most frequent way of doing research. But as Caroline points out, a lot of them have also done summer research experiences elsewhere. Off the top of my head, I know, well, Caroline, you were at Rochester, and we've had students at the Goddard Space Center, and we've had students
At MIT.
At MIT. And, for us, that's, one of the things we see as incredibly important is to get students involved in research. So if we can help you, we will.
And we do have some funds to support research.
Right.
Very cool. So this next question was not texted. It was actually asked on YouTube, where this is being live streamed, but the student wanted to know if you have to wait to be admitted to the university before you can apply for the program. And I can actually go ahead and field that one. So you can actually apply for both concurrently. You do not have to wait for an admissions decision in order to submit an application for the STAMPS program. You can submit them both right now, and I'll actually go ahead and point out the deadline again. So the deadline for the STAMP scholarship is January 15th. That does coincide with our merit-based scholarship deadlines. So you'll want to go ahead and submit that STAMPS application as soon as possible. But as far as needing an admissions decision first, that's not required. What would happen in the event that you were not admitted to the university, your STAMPS scholarship would just, or your application for the STAMPS program would just be voided at that point. So I encourage you to, even if you haven't applied to UNCG yet, I know you all will soon, go ahead and get that STAMPS scholarship in, and we'd be happy to go ahead and start taking a look at it now. So we have another couple of questions. Can you have two majors while being in STAMPS? Have either of you had experience with members of the STAMPS cohort double majoring? And if so, how easy is it?
Caroline should answer that. She is double majoring. Well,
I'm actually not double majoring,
Right.
but I can say that the STAMPS program is definitely supportive. It's not something that's going to hold you back from doing whatever you want to do.
Right.
we always have students double major.
We've had
As
students.
long as at least one of the majors is in a STAMPS discipline, it's fine.
Right.
Very cool. So just to reiterate, as long as one of their majors is eligible for the stamps program, their second major does not have to be stamps
right.
affiliated. Good to know. And just a heads up, for a lot of programs, like especially like biology and chemistry, there's enough overlap to where I like to joke with people that inadvertently you may end up with a minor without realizing you're going to get it. So it's definitely possible to double major. And I will say it's easier to do if your two majors are somewhat related, but that's not necessarily a requirement. As Dr. Sametz pointed out earlier, you can pursue something you're passionate about in addition to pursuing something that is related to the stamps program, which, you know, we hope you're also passionate about that as well. So the next question, this is just a more personal question for Caroline and Kevin. What was your favorite part about research? Outside of just the fact that you enjoy the subject. I mean, were there any cool experiences that you've had so far that have made kind of a lasting impact on you, or just any kind of fun anecdotes?
I can start with that. I think one of the most unexpected things that I've gained through research is friends. Some of the best friends that I've ever made in my entire life, I've gained through the lab, which has been incredible. Apart from that, my career goals changed after I got into research. I entered UNCG thinking I wanted to go into medicine. I thought that was my goal. I thought that was going to be a very ambitious goal for myself. And then as I got into research, I truly fell in love with it. And I realized I can't have a career without research. That's not going to work for me. This is something that I want to continue. And I know that this is how I'll best serve the community around me. So instead of doing an MD, I decided to start applying to MD PhD programs, like I mentioned earlier. So research has really changed the trajectory of my career. So it's had a huge impact on me.
Yes, for me, my favorite part of it is the friends as well, but I also really love getting to know my grad mentors. So learning about their stories, learning how they got there. It's really opened up for me that it may take some time, but if you put in the work, it's well worth it, because I know my grad mentor, her name is Morgan Frost. I know that she really loves her research. Through her, I've also gotten to go to the Longleaf Pine Savannah. It's like a 3-hour round trip, but going up to those forests, I get to learn about all these different types of plants, diversities, and how they impact one another. And that really ties into my career, which really shaped my career, learning about how I can change a plant's nutritional impact and how they can also impact us and consumers as well. So.
Yeah, and I'd just like to mention that research changes the way that you think. As someone who's never done research or never did research before my time at UNCG, I did not know how much I didn't know, but also the way that I thought. I mean, you just learn to really ask questions in ways that you never realized you hadn't before. You learn to think critically, which is kind of a cliche, but you really learn how to do it. And you also learn how to present. I've presented numerous times through my research at UNCG.
Very cool. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's also all about the friends that we make along the way. So we do have another question here, and either Dr. Patten or Dr. Sametz, I'll probably let one of you two field this one. What opportunities would there be for someone who wants to do veterinary medicine?
I guess Lynn's going to let me answer that. Well, veterinary medicine, I mean, that's, you're going to need your undergraduate degree in biology, you know, wherever you go. That is a degree that's going to require graduate work. So, and while UNCG does not have a veterinary graduate program, there have been many students from here who have gone on to veterinary science. So I think the opportunity is there. I think, as Kevin and Caroline point out, I think it's incredibly important that you get involved in research if that's your goal, because veterinary schools are probably as competitive as getting into medical schools now. So you're going to want to have that research experience, not just to get in, I mean, that, to help your application, but I think it's incredibly important that you understand research, how it's done, if you're going to go on for that. So I think there's lots of opportunities through the STAMPS program and other research opportunities on our campus.
And we do have a pre-vet club on campus. Right. This year we have, I think, 2 or 3 students who want to be vets. And over the course of STAMPS, we've had a number of students who have wanted to go on to veterinary medicine.
Right.
All right, very cool. So what I'm hearing is that it's totally compatible with the STAMPS program. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Very cool. We have another question. This individual also interested in biology, but they're thinking they may want to go down the education pathway. So is that still an eligible pathway for the STAMPS program? Like
that
secondary education?
That's iffy. I mean, we are, what the National Science Foundation funds us to do is to fund students who want to stay in STEM disciplines. Now, they don't consider, for reasons we're not clear, being a high school biology teacher a STEM discipline. There are ways to finesse it through the STAMPS program because, if you're going to do secondary, you're going to be a biology major. And so that fits. So, we'll just have to think about it.
You would definitely have to be looking at secondary education, not elementary or middle school. So.
All right, very cool. Let's see here. The next question we have is actually from a previous person who asked us a question a little bit earlier. So one, we appreciate you for sticking around long enough to get your question answered, but also to ask a second question. So this person wants to know, what are the I'll paraphrase a little bit. If they are selected to be a STAMPS scholar, what additional requirements are there for remaining a STAMPS scholar? Are there any requirements once you're admitted to the program that you have to keep up with?
So all students will be involved in this year, what was a 3-credit first-year experience program during the first semester. And then we have 2 1-credit courses to follow in the spring and then in the fall. After that, the commitment to STAMPS revolves around activities that we offer. There's no structured STAMPS course, but as Caroline and Kevin will tell you, we provide a lot of activities that keep the cohort together. We offer fun trips. We offer, we bring in speakers and we encourage you to attend. So the requirements are pretty minimal other than remaining, but to remain a STAMPS scholar, you do need to retain a 3.0.
All right, very cool. This next question is actually a question from me. So this is a question that it hasn't been asked by one of our viewers, but I think it's still one that they could benefit from hearing the answer to. And that is, what is, in your opinion, the ideal STAMPS candidate? So out of all of the people, and believe me, we have a ton of students that are interested in joining the program, but as you heard, it is a little bit of a smaller cohort, so it's highly competitive. What can an applicant do to set themselves apart from other people and increase the chance of them being selected for the STAMPS program?
Well, I'd like to sort of very quickly say the ideals candidates are Kevin and Caroline, but but when you do apply, I think what always strikes the committee is we feel that you sort of have a passion for science, that you really want to do this, and beyond that, it's hard to say. I mean, all of the students applying have, typically done well in high school or in their community college, and they're, we do try to have some sort of diversity in the disciplines. So, try to get some from physics and some from chemistry and some from biology and so on. But I really think that essay can be quite important if we feel like you really do want to do this. And if, we ask you to think about who has been an influence of yours, and that's where it comes out. I mean, and I don't really know how to go beyond that. I mean, it's not a very long application. You'll find that it's very brief. So as Stone points out, it's it is competitive, but I would say this is not a 1 in a million shot for students. I'd say there's a very good chance for most students, if they meet all of the criteria, we take a fairly high percentage of students end up in the program. It's always been surprising to me that we don't have more people apply, but it's so if you're interested, it's a good shot, I think. See if Lynn wants to add to that. Anything that
No, and the other thing you should know, I suppose, is that next year's cohort is our last cohort.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. So seize the opportunity while it's available is what I'm getting from that one. But yeah, that typically I think that about does it for most of the questions. We don't have any other viewer submitted questions at this time, and we're getting close to that 7 o'clock end time that we promised you all when we invited you to view. I'll ask one final question, and I think it'll be a good one to end on. And I guess that would be something that everybody can contribute to. What would be your biggest piece of advice for somebody interested in STEM in general? Whether it's advice on being open-minded or how to better prepare for their future, or how to get exposed to new ideas or new areas that maybe they're not so familiar with, or it could be something else. I'll leave that up to you all.
I'll throw out something very quick, and that is, don't come in thinking I'm going to be doing this. Let yourself experience some of the options out there and learn about those options. So many students come into the university thinking I want to do such and such. And as Caroline points out, after doing things, you might change. Well, be open to that change. And beyond that, enjoy it. Most people who are interested in science have been interested in science for a long time. So sort of feed that passion if you can. Oh, and learn about the other sciences. I think that's really important.
I guess my piece of advice would be, don't be afraid. It's okay. Just go for it. I remember what it's like to be in your shoes. I know how scary it is. And the worst that can happen is that you'll get rejected, or maybe you won't get the that you want that time. I'm not talking about just for stamps, but in general. And you should just go for it. If you don't get it this time, try again. It shows that you have resilience. And really, I think that if this is your drive and this is what you are truly meant to do, in your opinion, then it'll happen.
Well, the other thing I would add is, if you have questions about the STAMPS program, our emails are all on the STEM site or on the stamp site, feel free to contact us.
For me to add on to that, basically what I did was I tried all of it, almost all of it. I did many things. My undergrad lab is not something I wanted to do at first. I changed my career interest about 3 or 4 times. So trying everything really helped me pinpoint what I was passionate about.
Right. Very cool. I would say all of that's pretty great advice. I know I appreciated hearing it, and I'm sure our viewers appreciated it as well. This is going to conclude our live stream for the evening. I just want to say thank you again for everybody that stuck around or even popped in and out here and there to learn a little bit more about the program. Just a reminder that deadline to apply is January 15th. I encourage you all to go apply now. And again, you can go visit our website and view our scholarships on our admissions page. And then you can find direct links to both the Stamps website as well as the Stamps 3.0 application. And we look forward to reviewing all of those applications soon. Hope everybody has a great rest of your night. And we look forward to hopefully having you here on campus soon.
Thank you. Bye.